Okay, so have you seen this whole thing with Microsoft and Copilot? They're like totally shaking things up in the AI world.
Yeah, it's pretty big. They're really trying to make Copilot like way more integrated into everything we do.
Yeah. It's not just another app, it's like having an actual sidekick, right? Instead of just asking for directions, you've got this AI thing prepping you for meetings.
It's true.
Yeah.
Imagine like getting the latest industry news or even just like a reminder to grab coffee on your way out the door.
Right. And what's impressive to me is how Microsoft is really going all in. It seems like they're not just trying to catch up to Google or any of those other guys.
No, not at all. They want Copilot to be the AI,
Yeah.
like essential to your entire day. Work, personal life,
Yeah.
everything.
And they're putting it everywhere too. Windows, the Edge browser.
Oh, and they're even putting those, what are they called, dedicated Copilot keys on some of the new laptops for instant access.
Dedicated keys. Can you believe that? They are not messing around. Okay, so for those of us who don't spend all day reading tech blogs, what's the quick rundown? What has you, the expert, most excited about this whole Copilot thing?
For me, it's got to be the Copilot voice thing. That's huge.
Yeah, tell me more about that. Is it like just a voice assistant on steroids?
Kind of, but it's more than that. They're really pushing for like a more natural back and forth, like an actual conversation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And get this, they've even built in the ability to interrupt.
Oh, wow. So you're not just barking commands at a lifeless machine anymore.
Exactly. It's about making it feel like you're actually interacting with a Copilot.
That's pretty slick. Okay, so what about Copilot Daily? I keep hearing that term thrown around.
Okay, so Copilot Daily, right? I imagine waking up and you've got like your own personalized news anchor.
Okay, now that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're not skimping on the quality either. Microsoft is partnering up with like Reuters, the Financial Times.
Wow, the big leagues.
Yeah, even USA Today. And the thing is, they're actually paying these companies for access.
Interesting.
It shows they're serious about, providing actual high-quality content.
Okay, so this is starting to feel like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Speaking of which, what is this Copilot Vision thing I'm hearing about?
Now that is where things get really, really interesting.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so imagine this. AI that can actually see what's on your computer screen.
Whoa.
And not just see it, but also respond to your voice commands in real time.
Okay, so, like, what does that even look like in practice?
Well, let's say you're working on a presentation and you need to resize an image. You could literally just tell Copilot Vision to do it for you.
Okay, so that's both amazing and slightly terrifying all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, does it know what I'm thinking too? Maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but it's clear that Microsoft is like really pushing some serious boundaries here. But wait, didn't they have some issues with this whole Copilot launch?
Oh, yeah, you're right. There were some bumps in the road. Like, remember the whole recall feature? Yeah, that was supposed to be like a big selling point for those new Copilot Plus PCs, right?
Yeah.
But then they had to delay it.
It's because of privacy concerns, right? I remember reading something about that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. People are a little, I don't know, on edge about how all their data is being used, especially with all this AI stuff.
Totally, totally. And it's a valid concern. Like with recall, the AI is actually like going back and looking at your past interactions, right?
Like, it's almost like inviting someone into your digital home. You want to make sure they're not going to, like, rifle through your stuff.
Exactly. But, Microsoft says they've fixed the issues, and I think recall is supposed to be back on track soon. But it raises an important point about all of this AI stuff. Trust it's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So, privacy concerns aside, I mean, this Copilot update still feels like kind of a turning point. Like, it's not just about making our lives a little easier. It feels like it could fundamentally change how we interact with technology in general.
Right. It's like we're moving away from, just menus and buttons and all that and going towards this like natural conversation and anticipation thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that Microsoft is like letting people test out those experimental features through, the Copilot Labs thing.
Yeah.
That shows you that they're serious about, like pushing those boundaries.
It's like they're saying, we don't have all the answers. Let's figure this whole AI thing out together. But okay, so we've talked about Copilot Voice, Copilot Daily. Let's go back to Copilot Vision for a second.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's incredible, don't get me wrong, but are there any, like, potentially invasive implications there?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always the thing with new technology, right?
Yeah.
There's always that, wait a minute, should we even be doing this? kind of feeling. And this idea of AI, like actually seeing your computer screen,
Yeah.
that definitely brings up some, you know, valid questions about privacy
Yeah.
and data security.
Right.
Like, for example, what is it doing with all that visual information, right?
Right. Exactly.
Is it being stored somewhere?
Right.
Is it being analyzed? These are all questions that,
Yeah.
Microsoft needs to be transparent about.
For sure. Because, I mean, we've all seen enough like sci-fi movies to know how this could go very, very wrong.
Exactly.
But on a more optimistic note,
Okay.
I mean, imagine the possibilities this opens up for like people with
Oh,
disabilities.
for sure.
I mean, voice control and AI assistance could be completely life-changing for someone with, mobility issues, for example.
Accessibility is huge.
Yeah.
And even for, people without disabilities, think about the productivity boosts.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine having this assistant that's, not just managing your schedule, but also like helping you blow through tasks.
Totally.
That frees up so much time for like creative thinking and problem solving.
It's like having an extra brain,
Right.
or at least a really, really efficient assistant to
Yeah,
help you navigate, this increasingly digital world that we're living in.
for sure.
But I think with all this talk about like productivity and efficiency, we can't forget about the human element. I mean, it's almost like we're on the verge of this like AI-powered future,
Yeah.
right? But we have to make sure that it works for us
No.
and not the other way around. So
Right.
how do we find that balance, that sweet spot where AI is like enhancing our lives without, taking over?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It really is a balancing act. I think one of the biggest challenges is going to be like ensuring fairness, you
Right.
know, and avoiding bias.
Oh, yeah, the bias thing is huge.
Because these AI systems, they learn from the data they're fed, right?
Right.
And if that data is, reflecting existing biases,
Which it often is.
exactly, then the AI is just going to like perpetuate those biases or even make them worse.
It's not just about building like smarter AI, it's about building like ethical AI.
Responsible AI, absolutely.
Responsible AI, there you go. And that takes like a lot of conversation, right?
Oh.
Collaboration.
Huge amounts.
Yeah.
It can't just be like tech people, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's got to be policymakers,
Yeah.
ethicists,
Yeah.
even everyday users.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play in this.
100%. Okay, so for our listeners out there who are like maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway that you want them to remember as they kind of venture into this increasingly AI-driven world?
Don't be afraid of it,
Okay.
Embrace the possibilities, but do it like with open eyes.
Yeah.
Like don't just blindly trust everything. AI has so much potential for good.
Yeah.
But like any tool, it can be misused.
It's powerful. Yeah.
Exactly.
So be discerning.
Yeah.
I like that. Embrace the possibilities, but, keep your eyes open.
There you go.
Okay, well, we've covered a lot today. I mean, from AI that can basically hold a conversation with you to personalized news that's like scary accurate. It's clear that, Microsoft's not messing around with this Copilot update. I don't know about you, but I'm really curious to see what happens next.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be interesting. It's an exciting time to be following all this AI stuff.
It really is. And you know what? It's even more exciting knowing I don't have to like wade through a million tech articles to try and figure it all out. That's what we do here at The Deep Dive, after all.
That's right. We break it down.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this little deep dive into the world of Microsoft's revamped Copilot, I'm going to leave you with a question. If you could ask Copilot anything, like analyze any part of your life, what would it be? Just something to think about as we, continue this journey into the always evolving, sometimes slightly terrifying, but ultimately super fascinating world of AI. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing, and thanks for diving in with us.